Status effects are a fantastic way to melt down bosses in Elden Ring, and with the Antspur Rapier, you can apply 3 different ones with a single stab, or several successive stabs. It's also been a minute since we did a themed build, and with Ant-Man 3 still Antin hitting theaters this weekend, you might think that's what we're doing. But no, this is a Taylor Swift run. Sorry if that disappoints you, but I'm a bit of a bad boy. It must be exhausting always rooting for an Ant-y hero. To experience these puns live, follow me on Twitch. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time, or we will in March. I'm taking a little break, but I'll be back with a co-op run for my chat, so go there and follow. Join my Patreon if you want to monetarily endorse my puns. Guess where this run ends up in the tier list before finishing the video, and now let's start it.
I see you shiver with
I wasn't joking, this is really going to be Taylor Swift, and I feel like I did a pretty good job in character creation for once. Maybe not as good as Pepsi Man, but close. We run past the grafted goodbye on and head right into Limgrave. Early stuff, get a crafting kit, get a horse fly from Ariana Grande, the wet blade, save Alex Anter, and get the physic flask from the Church of Marika. The first tier you get just heals you 50%, so I ride down to get the stamina boost and charged attack boost instead. Now we go to the Dragon Barrow and kill a dragon by tickling its toes. Apparently if an ant bites your toes enough, you die. Just another thing to be afraid of. Before getting our anti-hero sword, I want the knife to be a little better, so the fight for the anti-sword is easier. That means we're gonna go to Lernia. There's so much Lernia on the way to the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel, but we'll just skip that. We have to beat the Crystallian. Don't worry, this rock type will not be super effective against our bug type. Our bug type is also not very effective against the rock type, but after breaking the stance, we can just bully it. After its stance is broken, its poise is broken from any hit. Even our wimpy dagger. Still takes 2 minutes, but it's free. Now imagine ants in Fortnite. There, Taylor Swift can destroy Fortnite for the Bloody Slash, Ash of War, and get half the Dectus Medallion. The other half is in Fort Faroth. Apparently I forgot to pick it up when I killed the dragon. On the way to the Weeping Peninsula, we look at a painting in the artist's shack so we can grab the bug helmet. This one lowers the magic cost of our incantations that we're definitely gonna be using. We better use them, because the helmet lowers our damage resistance by 5%. The most important part of this helmet though is the little wings bounce when you move. 10 out of 10, best helmet in the game. In the Sad World, we grab some Sacred Tears and Grave Gloveworts for an ant later. Now into Altus with a +4 dagger. We're going right for the castle to throw down with Marius. He's got a sword we want and poison vape clouds. The worst part is a guardian golem that shows up and starts slamming you if you don't bait Marius far enough away, so we do that. Despite being terrible at NPC fights, I can manage to beat him by walking forward and pressing R1 until he bleeds to death. We level up the rapier, but don't have the dexterity or strength to wield it since we dumped our dragon runes into vigor. That's fine, there are physic tiers for that. It just means that we have to beat bosses in 3 minutes before those run out. Since the Antspur Rapier isn't considered a fancy weapon, we can put Ashes of War on it, like the Bloody Slash, and get both Scarlet Rot and Bleed on it at the same time. So the bosses should just fly by.
When I'm a human fly, I spell it ill.
First up, Patches and Nerd Juice, and when I say and, I mean and. We beat Nerd Juice so fast we can run through the Murkwater Cave and stab down Patches before the physic tiers wear out. With Patches Bellbearing, we can buy Golden Pickles for more runes. I'll be honest, getting this run going took a while, but it's about to speed up. Like, a lot. Especially if we ignore the free Sentinels in Altus, dip into the Sealed Tunnel for the Bellbearing too. Now our amazing sword can be even more amazing. We still don't have a Talisman or a Spear Dash worth summoning, so let's fix those problems. Why do they call this the High Road Cave? It's in the middle of a ravine. It's the low road. At the bottom of the low ravine cave, the guardian golem is pretty much free. Just break his ankles and stab his chest. They seem harder in the overworld. Usually it's because they're not alone. But to make sure that we're not alone, let's kill the Tibia Mariner for an easy and pretty decent early Spirit Ash. This is the night the skeletons came to life after all. And after we remind them that they're dead, we get our own skeletons. More on them later. Finally, we pick up Flame of the Redmanes. How does that fit the ant theme? Fire ants, I guess? We're not using it for very long. Specifically, I want it for the Putrid Avatar in Caelid, which is weak to fire. It just makes the fight way faster, and we're rewarded with the Flame Shrouding tier to boost our fire damage by 20% before we go for the Clean Rot Knights. This is where I wanted to have the Skeletal Militiamen, since they don't die until someone hits them on the ground. It makes them really durable for a long, drawn-out gank fight. But the powered up Flame of the Redmanes makes this a pretty fast gank fight. Now we have the Golden Scarab Talisman to boost our experience even faster. Let's go get our ants in Margott Morgott's pants, and it goes so incredibly fast. I didn't even do a good job. I got hit by plenty of silly goose moves. But with Bleed and Rot on the same weapon, he just kinda dies. We even get the ants break at the end. After taking care of the gatekeepers the proper way, we move through the danger path of Stormveil and make our way to Godric. Would you guess it goes similarly to Morgott? Because it does. Hey, also, you know his big jump attack that almost always whiffs? Yeah, I did some science and just stood still. He whiffs. Come on, man. It even ends with a ants break and a crit. He just leaves a pile of nasty Godric goo. Gross. Let's get more damage from the bottom of Mount Gelmir. I routed up a Tibia Mariner on the way. It's not important, but I thought they were immune to rot. Wild. Into the Cope and Seethe water tunnel. Don't like poison swamps in your FromSoft game? Cope and Seethe. The boss here is the Kindred of Rot. There's 2 of them and they're ants. But these ants are from a bad colony, so we gotta take them down. It's like fighting 2 glass cannons at the same time. While they have like no health, they dodge pretty well and their webs deal a ton of damage. Wait, can ants make webs? Yes, the Weaver ant makes silk. That's good. I was worried it was their nutty end to this fight. We both die at the same time, but I still get the Kindred of Rot talisman to boost our damage by 20% after we afflict rot or poison, and can come back to get the runes too. Star Scourge Radahn should be pretty weak to Scarlet Rot, or at least he is now weak to Scarlet Rot. Per the lore, Malenia fought him at full power and hit him with the stinky onion flower so hard it turned Caelid into Caelid. So maybe his resistance used to be high, but I can relate to feeling weak and small after fighting Malenia. Worth noting, this dude is such a badass that he still didn't die, and we still need a whole ass army to fight him. Though I've compared him to Thanos before, and I think we know how an ant-themed hero beats Thanos. Give him a tummy ache. He tries to be brave about it and turn into a meteor, then summons more meteors, but we get another ants break right at the end, and bleed proc to turn this once great warrior into ant food. Now the ant hero can go into Thanos' big hole by fort height, and oh, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. The Mimic tier makes us have a little existential crisis, but we can rot and bleed it down without ever being in any danger. We're not actually doing the Ronnie quest this time, I promise. I just need the Black Wet Blade. With that, you can take any of the arcane ashes of war, so blood, poison, or occult, and switch which type of infusion you have on the weapon. So you can do a blood ash of war with a poison infusion. Very important later. Now something that's also very important, that's worth spending time on and will definitely use, getting Swarm of Flies. It's a bit of a chore, but god, I get so much use out of this spell later. First, say hi to Moon Knight and get some chicken fingers from him. Then use one of those fingers to bait the Beast Man in the Writhe Blood Ruins and tell Moon Knight about it. He thinks it's so cool, he gives us a sheet and asks us to spill Kool-Aid on it. His god is asking for weird things. There's a few places we can go for this. I decided to go for Vike and we didn't get inflicted with madness.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
We haven't even invested in Mind. Neat. Moon Knight will now pull our finger so we can warp to the Mogwin Palace for Swarm of Flies. Such a great spell, can't wait to use it. Just need a casting seal from the Cringe Folk Hero's Grave. There's a Dragon Knight we can kill for it. Now let's get a more thematic Spirit Ash.
Ants! Ants! Ant-Man!
Gilka's dead, Ritual Sword Talisman. I can't take time to talk about it because we're on our way to the Caelid Catacombs, killing these little birds on the way for some foul feet, until we're attacked by the Mama Bird. She can't fit through the door though, so Ant escapes bird yet again. The Caelid Catacombs aren't complicated. The lever is right by the door and we can fight the cemetery shade there. It's another glass cannon. Don't know why we're running into so many of those. We didn't die. It was weirdly close though. Our reward for beating the second glass cannon is the first glass cannon as a Spirit Ash, the Servant of Rot. We level it up a bit and head to Caria Manor, leveling up our super important casting seal with EG. I promise, we're not doing the Ronnie quest. Into Caria Manor, fight Loretta, who is totally immune to status effects, which is the entire point of the Ant build. Still a win. Loretta isn't hard unless you couldn't drink a red flask for some reason. We talk to Ronnie, but we're not doing her quest. We fall off her tower for the second death, whoops, then get a Glove Wart 10 into the Incel River Main to grab the Ant Plate Shield. See? We're not doing the Ronnie quest. We just needed to go to Noxtella for this shield. I guess we need the Somberstone 7 though, so we'll run further up and end up doing the same amount of the Ronnie quest we always do. Whoops. The grass we need for our ant is up on Mount Gelmir in the Gelmir Hero's Grave. Normally, something in here ends up killing us, either the big chariot or the pages pushing us into the big chariot. We got hit on our way out, but we're living. There's a Somberstone 6 nearby. We grab that, then grab our last glove warts from a quick dip into the Windham Catacombs. We don't have to fight the boss. It just gives us the stuff to buy grave glove warts 1 through 3, which we already have. Let's go to Leyndell. The Draconic Tree Sentinel tries to swat us on the way in, but we're just too nasty. We get him sick, we make him bleed, and avoid him well enough to avoid death. As we run through Leyndell, we kill the Erdtree Avatar for a free level, and grab the Ritual Shield Talisman to offset our Bug Helmet's damage resistance penalty. I know in the Elon run I said you shouldn't have talismans equipped just to offset penalties, but Elon made his build to be strong. I made mine to be Ant Gimmick. The Godfrey Shade is like Loretta, immune to all status effects. Even worse, he shows off how weak Ant-Man's stance is. Pretty much every hit makes him ka-chunk, and forces the Ant to fall down with a tummy ache. But we're still able to win deathless. The Godfrey Shade is pretty easy to dodge. To deal with the Black Knife Assassin on the way to Morgott, we jump on the bed. I don't know why she can't figure out to jump on the bed with us. Maybe she's saving it for marriage. If only we had a ranged option to hit her without getting off the bed. But we don't. I suppose we're just gonna have to keep going for jump attacks. For Morgott, we summon Ariana and slowly poke in while we can. It's honestly not the smoothest fight again, but 2 status effects at once is really good. Also, when we rot, it looks like Ant-Man also gets a damage boost. That makes sense. In phase 2, we get a Ants break while he's rotted, which is extra good since the rod keeps ticking as we keep critting. That's the win, and we can head into the Forbidden Lands. Fun fact, this elevator is not flush with the wall. You can fall off to your death. It's only death number 3, but it kills a lot of time since we have to run all the way back. Oof, I guess doing so well is making me nervous, but don't worry, we're about to get all of these butterflies out of our tummy.
You give me butterflies and I keep on getting.
In the Mountaintops of the Giants, we grab the Bell-Bearing 3 to level up the Ant Sword even more, and kill a Teardrop Ant for the Seppuku Ash of War. It lets us impale ourselves to pull the butterflies out of our tummy, which will inflict bleed. But since it's a Blood Ash of War with the Black Wet Blade, we can give the sword a Poison Infusion. That's 3 status effects on 1 stick, which is now at plus 18. Let's test it against the Fire Giant. All of our status effects will deal damage based on a percentage of total health, rather than set numbers. Since the Fire Giant has almost twice as much health as the Elden Beast, percentages aren't just good, they're based. Unfortunately, it also hits like a giant and squishes us like some kind of small animal. Attempt 2, we play it safer. He kills our horse, which is always fun. Love that pop-up menu when I'm avoiding a goddamn titan, but it's fine. We got it on the second try, then burned down the Erdtree. This run is going really fast. I know I could go get the Lord of Blood's Exaltation Talisman to boost our damage after we seppuku, but I'm not going on a crappy side quest just so the comments won't be annoying. It's the Leyndell sewers, so when I say it's a crappy side quest, that's not a metaphor, it's literally crappy. There's butt slugs and omens who block off the ladders, but I've gotten pretty good at getting around him. I'm not gonna get killed by a basic ass enemy, except the gargoyles on the pipes. That's embarrassing. Let's return the favor and guard counter them using the heavy shield. That'll instantly break their ants so we can crit and kill them. Into the Leyndell catacombs, which are deliberately designed to make you think you're losing your mind. Psychological torture in my FromSoft game? More likely than you'd think. But I've had to go through here for enough runs, so I know where I'm going. It's pretty safe until the goddamn gargoyles killed me again! 1/3 of our deaths are now from the gargoyles on this stupid field trip. It's still only 2, but it's weird that it happened twice. We get our vengeance and head in to fight Esker, Priest of Blood. The real boss here, though, are his dogs, which don't leave me alone. No death, except Esker, but he doesn't really count. He's not really a person. Now we have the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for a 20% damage boost after a bleed, which happens instantly after we seppuku. This ant is now officially the most powerful creature in the lands between. Back to the main quest, fall into a bottomless pit, death 7. Okay, let's summon Burn Ant for the Godskin duo. They're weak to all status effects, bleed, poison, and rot. Hell, they're even pretty weak to sleep, but we don't have that. It's fast enough to bully one down, then it's a 3v1, until Ant-Man dies, then it's a 2v1. But 2v1 is still in our favor, especially since the status effects can melt one's HP before they have time to summon another one. We make the swag jump and grab the Somberstone 10 for the casting seal we're definitely just about to start using, but not against the 3 Sentinel. Turns out that all the status effects are good, especially when they raise our damage by 20% when we inflict them, stacking together for a 44% damage boost. Makes the Rapier hit pretty hard, despite being, just a single Rapier. Maliketh resists status effects, but resistance isn't immunity, so I don't give a toot. Ant-Man keeps dying. Hey, sneak peek of Quantumania, am I right? Am I? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. This script was written a week ago. But we have 2 different damage over times hitting Maliketh, who honestly doesn't have that much health, so it's fine. We made it out. It takes 11 hits to kill Gideon. You know how I know that? I counted.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're good. There we go.
We seppuku on the way into Godfrey and quickly get off the rot and poison, but we start phase 2 with a st-ants break. That's actually bad. It puts us further away. It means that we can't get the st-ants break to kick off phase 2. Also, his stats reset. But I realize what I should do in this fight as I'm dying.
Ow. Oh, hey, why don't I use this giant fucking shield on my back that would block 100% of the physical damage next time?
Yeah, blocking damage is pretty good. He doesn't have any spicy damage types. The only issue is sometimes he pushes our stamina down and breaks our st-ants. What a lazy way to play. We would never. I got greedy and tried to push him into phase 2, so I got hit with the fissure. That's pretty bad. For the big earthquake in phase 2, we got caught on a wall. I was worried I wasn't far enough away, but I was, thank God. We've applied our status effects, now we just need to survive. Doesn't matter that my rolls were terrible going into phase 2.5. We're out of flasks. We're at like 5 HP. Every stomp covers the entire arena with a hitbox. But sometimes, gamers, we win these.
It's just that easy, folks. Wasn't even close.
Only one boss left, or 2, it still counts as 1 in my rankings. Obviously, we activate Godric's Great Rune for +5 to every stat, and switch our Ash of War to the Flame of the Redmanes. Radagon can be poisoned, but not bled, and the Elden Beast is immune to all status effects. So fire damage will help us more with Radahn, and make sure our sword is still dealing decent damage for the Elden Beast. Radahn is still a huge problem, killing us twice before we even get to the Elden Beast. On the 3rd attempt, our Ant-Man is dead, so I'm just alone. Elden Rain kills us, and then we try a new strategy. It's just us against Radahn. We'll summon the Ant-Man for the Elden Beast since the pest threads should rip through it. Beating Radahn solo isn't easy, but now we can unleash the Ant Nut on the Elden Beast and it's not even that great. It's not bad, but I thought it would work like the spell pest threads does. Kind of a bummer. Mostly we just stab the Elden Beast when we have a safe window. We wrap things up at 5 hours and 6 minutes, 25 bosses slain, and 11 deaths. That means ants are in S tier, stronger than Cloud Strife. Status effects are really good. That shouldn't be a shocker. This could have been even better if we didn't waste time grabbing Swarm of Flies, which, whoopsie, we didn't use. It's been nerfed into basically being useless. Oh, and don't wear a helmet that lowers your damage resistance. We could have definitely had less damage resistance. Hey, what if we tried to get to the lowest damage resistance possible? Maybe follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me do that run live. Join my Patreon if you want to give me money. That's the best place to do that. And check out my other channel if you want to see my videos about tabletop games and other funny stuff.